This franchise comes with a long history, but the question is, how do we continue to build on that and push Battlefield to the next level?
We had to think big. One team that spans across the globe and combines 20 years of franchise experience with emerging talent.
DICE is responsible for the multiplayer part of the game, which incorporates things like destruction systems, class play, squad play, vehicles, gadgets, all of those kind of underlying systems that drive the experience.
So here at Motive, we're working on multiplayer maps, and we're also working on single-player mission content.
Criterion have been supporting Battlefield for a decade now, and now we're going to bring that to the table as a fully fledged kind of partner in the Battlefield studios.
Ripple effects.
Talent.
DICE is responsible for the multiplayer part of the game, which incorporates things like destruction systems, class play, squad play, vehicles, gadgets, all of those kind of underlying systems that drive the experience.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back over that a little bit really quickly. That's interesting. So, would that kind of be like an admittance to say with some of the, like, especially 2042, how the game came out without that kind of class system as we knew it back in the day? Would that be because the multiplayer wasn't being led by DICE or something? Is that not the case? That's something that's actually just interesting for me to think about. And I wonder if anybody else actually would know any actual information upon that, or I might have to actually dig into that as well. But yeah, sorry, let's get back to this.
So here at Motive, we're working on multiplayer maps, and we're also working on single-player mission content.
Criterion have been supporting Battlefield for a decade now, and now we're going to bring that to the table as a fully fledged kind of partner in the Battlefield studios.
Ripple Effects has a long history of working on the Battlefield franchise.
We're working on an experience that is really going to open Battlefield up to a whole group of new players.
This game has so much potential, so
I just want to stop there. So that's right near the end anyway. I shouldn't stuff it.
I think it's about giving the team this time to really hone their craft.
How many of you guys out there don't know how to edit?
Well, okay, there we go. Let's go into that. Interesting. That was all very interesting. Yes, definitely. There was also a tweet. Let me go pull that up a sec. Yeah, so we had this tweet, and yes, good. I use white backgrounds. Enjoy. 4 studios across the globe, one brand new visionary team, Battlefield Studios. Okay, so it's a global united front combining 20 years experience with the best emerging talent in our industry, how it works, introducing Battlefield labs, blah blah blah. And you see this one's much longer, so we're going to go and watch and listen to this as well. So let's pause it, put it back to start.
Defending that last point in Breakthrough.
You and your squad going together, trying to accomplish something.
Helicopter crashes into the building next to you, and all of a sudden the roof drops on your head.
The vehicle play is the destruction.
You've got tanks, you've got jets.
You get a bit sweaty in your palms.
That's full, all-out military experience. It's just unlike any other game I've played.
This franchise comes with a long history, spanning over 20 years now.
Okay, we've seen these bits, but that started bit. That is the essence of Battlefield. Yes, it is a game that, like, you know, what the game kind of really like that. Well, there's a few games, obviously. There's, like, I think Palantir and obviously quite a few other games that are like Battlefield-esque, but there's nothing that has those like Battlefield-only moments. That's why they're called Battlefield-only moments. Like, it does have that, like, unique feel, especially, like, the older ones, like, where was it? I saw it. Like here, Battlefield, I think this is 3, and I think, when did I see it? I swear I saw a clip of 4. Here, Battlefield 4. This map as well, like, this is nostalgia. And yeah, you just don't get this kind of combat anymore. And yeah, obviously the evolution to this map wasn't great. It was kind of, but it was also kind of fun, as long as it kind of wasn't like done like instantly. Like it kind of felt like the levolution to the maps felt good if they were done for like a tactical reason kind of thing. So if it was like, if the map was playing out and it was just like one side was just completely nailing the other, but the other side was able to get like up and see this section, they could then just blow the dam and change the layout of the map so that they could, you know, possibly progress through and get some of the points and stuff. So, but some of them were a bit naff, to be honest. Yeah. But yeah, let's go back.
This franchise comes with a long history, spanning over 20 years now. But the question is, how do we continue to build on that and push Battlefield to the next level?
I've been playing Battlefield since long before I joined the team. When 1942 first came out, the amount of fun that we all sat down and had with it is just, still like a fond memory. So in joining the Battlefield team, it was about the opportunity to give that team that space to do something just more amazing even than they've done in the past.
We set out with this ambitious idea of creating this new Battlefield universe. And to make that vision a reality, we had to think big.
Okay, interesting. Don't really know. I've kind of already said my piece on that, but anyway.
Each of our 4 studios comes with its own culture and expertise into what we call Battlefield Studios.
One team that spans across the globe and combines 20 years of franchise experience with emerging talent.
Just actually kind of on that, I thought that's kind of what 2042 was anyway. I thought that was the combination of, the multiple different studios coming together to make the one game. I thought that's what that was. And now they're saying that they're now grouping together as one company as Battlefield Studio. I don't get the business world, honestly, in that regard, but that's confusing for me, because I thought 2042 technically had already done this, but just as multiple different studios. So I kind of don't see how this is going to be any really different, but again, like I said, I don't really understand the business world in that regard very well, so it could be completely different. But let's carry on.
DICE has such a rich history with Battlefield. We've been working on it for years and years.
Yeah.
But we also want to do something bigger and better than we've ever done before, and you can't do that with one studio.
DICE is responsible for the multiplayer part of the game, which incorporates things like destruction systems, class play, squad play, vehicles, gadgets, all of those kind of underlying systems that drive the experience.
That is good to hear that DICE is the one taking over the multiplayer.
So here at Motive, we're working on multiplayer maps, and we're also working on single-player mission content.
That's confusing though, like, why isn't the main team who's making the multiplayer like elements and all that lot making the maps for multiplayer? Now I'm already kind of concerned. Why is the single player team making the multiplayer maps? That kind of honestly feels like two opposite ends of focus, and you're not going to be able to give 100% into one of them because you have to split it. So that's a little concerning for me. I'm assuming, and I'm pretty sure they're going to do probably a good, decent job. I hope. God, this is the last game. No, everything pretty much I'm going to say is my whole brain just goes, but 2042 didn't. So yeah.
We're driving a cinematic experience to the level that's never been done on Battlefield.
I hope that these do well with the multiplayer
Ripple
maps.
Effects has a long history of working on the Battlefield franchise.
We're working on an experience that is really going to open Battlefield up to a whole group of new players, but really still exciting that core
franchise. Ripple Effects
driving a cinematic
I want to hear what that guy said.
To the level that's never been done on Battlefield before.
Ripple Effects has a long history of working on the Battlefield franchise.
We're working on an experience that is really going to open Battlefield up to a whole group of new players, but really still exciting that core audience that has made this franchise so successful.
Right, so they haven't really said anything there. they've just said they've worked on Battlefield for a very long time. Okay. But what are you bringing to the table? Like, what are the parts that you've worked on that are, parts that people liked, and you can help, bring them back in new ways, or in better ways, or in improved ways, and leveled up, and this and that. And I don't want to talk negative all the time. I do really want to be positive with Battlefield, but I'm not gonna just blindly fanboy it like I have done in so many times in the past. This time, I'm being very critical, and they basically have said nothing there. They're bringing a new experience. Okay, is it the Battle Royale that everyone's been asking for a long time? I hope. But I've also got a feeling they're not going to do that. They're going to do a DMZ extraction kind of thing, like they kind of did with 2042, I think, with... Well, I can't even remember the game mode name. That's how much I played that one and enjoyed it. So I even remember Firestorm. Like, that was good. It was just way too large, few issues with, being able to get a tank and then take it into the final circle. Kind of OP. So a few issues I think needed to get sorted out. Like, didn't need tanks, jeeps and stuff like that. Fine. No tank. No. Don't give us a tank. Not good idea. So I'm excited to see what new thing they're gonna bring, because obviously it's not multiplayer, it's not single player. That's DICE and I think Criterion. I think it was. I may be getting that wrong. It's pretty late for me. I've got kicked out of the website like twice, and it's so yeah. Probably most of what I'm babbling is probably not even going to get put in this section. I've paused it for way too long. Yeah, let's just get back to the video. So,
Criterion have been supporting Battlefield for a decade now, and now we're going to bring that to the table as a fully fledged kind of partner in the Battlefield studios.
Mainly, we've been focused on the single-player experience. So the campaign is back for Battlefield.
Guildford is Criterion.
We have never before had this many teams and talents dedicated to the development of Battlefield. And we have a plan to create a new, exciting future for the franchise, alongside our players.
This game has so much potential. So I think
had this many teams.
Criterion have been supporting Battlefield for a decade now, and now we're going to bring that to the table as a fully fledged kind of partner in the Battlefield studios.
Mainly, we've been focused on the single-player experience. So the campaign is back for Battlefield experience.
Wait. I know it's not, but for some strange reason, I thought that was. I'm so sorry to these guys. Tag, the Angry Gamers. Oh God, I thought it was one of them. Oh God, I can't remember which one's which name right now. It's so late for me. I thought that was one of the Tag people. If it is, amazing, great, lovely, great to see you on here. If it's not, oh well. Sorry.
So the campaign is back for Battlefield.
Okay, that was campaign.
We have never before had this many teams and talents dedicated to the development of Battlefield.
Motive, that was it.
And we have a plan to create a new, exciting future for the franchise, alongside our players.
Right, okay.
This game has so much potential. So I think it's about giving the team this time to really hone their craft.
We have to prototype, play test, get feedback,
and then repeat that loop
over and over and over again. We have to find gameplay that really resonates with the players and then build on that.
Yes.
Battlefield Labs is our new development in it.
However, one thing I will say right here, right now, all fine and dandy saying that, you kind of did that with 2042, but don't quote me on this. It's late, memory's not great right now. I'm pretty sure both the closed beta and the open beta that I'm pretty sure I played, and a lot of other people, well, not a lot, but a lot of people got into the open beta. I'm pretty sure we basically found out, and we were told or something, like, the information came out that was actually like a build, like multiple patches behind what they were actually working with. And I don't mean like mini patches, I mean like some of the big major upgrade patches kind of thing. So what we were all testing, if we found problems with those kinds of systems, those kinds of systems had already been built upon in like future, in those extra patches that the actual dev team had been working on and done. Like, if we found some really fundamental issues, would they really have had time to have gone, oh crap, we've got to scrap like these 3-4 patches we've done, revert all that, go back to the build test that we put out for the open and closed beta, and start from that again and rework these things, that the feedback we're getting back from? Because I really feel like that again didn't happen. Like, the feedback we gave was ignored, but I feel like that was because they were already a few patches, like big patches, not just the small patches, the big patches past what the build we were given. So I really do hope with these playtests and like this Battlefield Labs or whatever that's probably about to be mentioned and stuff now fully in the video, I really do hope that with that we're going to get access to not necessarily the most current version they're working on, but a current enough version that doesn't have any major patches missing. Because I feel like that's what may have happened with the 2042 betas, that they were already a couple major patches past that build that we got access to, so none of our feedback could really be implemented because systems had already been built further on that patch, when that build patch that we got needed a fundamental rework in certain areas. So, but back to the video. So I really do hope we're going to get more current versions to playtest, and so that the feedback can actually be like worked upon a lot more vigorously than having to be like, what I feel like is like, oh, we're already too far past being able to cut all this stuff back, change this thing, because this thing is fundamental in these 3 other things we've implemented from these new patches. So yeah,
initiative where players will get to test specific focus areas in the game.
Okay, we test specific focus areas.
We've done similar things in the past, but this is a whole nother level. We're doing it before we launch the game, and we're doing it with so much more content.
It's an exciting way for us to interact with our audience before things go live and make sure that what we have is really fun and polished.
And we have to test everything, combat to destruction to maps and modes.
We're going to test all the new features that we're putting out, and we're going to test hardware like weapons, vehicles, and gadgets.
We can try different things, but also validate what players are expecting from Battlefield.
One thing I didn't actually hear any kind of talk there about, which is a little bit concerning, especially for someone like me who has a 1080 Ti. I do not have a 2000 series or older for RTX or anything. I am still on pretty old gen GPU. And that's one big issue I have with 2042. For one, it being CPU locked rather than, well, it basically being more CPU main resource than GPU resource. It didn't run well on my PC, and I didn't really get a really good time on it because it didn't run well. I hope with this game they optimize better, and they do not like make it CPU main, because it's a game should not be CPU main anymore, especially for how graphical games are forcing like the high-end like graphic settings to go. For some reason, all games, even though I've got a 1080 Ti, because it's a 12 gigabytes of VRAM, they think, oh yeah, we can still auto set to high and extreme settings. The PC can't handle that kind of stuff because I don't have all the extra resources and stuff from like the 2000 series onward with RTX and all that lot. So I really do, again, going back to what the original point is, I really do hope the optimization for this game, they really do consider, since Battlefield is mainly PC community from its origins to current. I know it's got a lot of console players, but from its origin, for like multiple games, it had no console release. So a lot of the origins of the community come around from PC. So I really hope that they can look into that aspect and go, hey, we need to optimize this for not just, you know, the 4000 series and the 5000 series that's just dropped. It needs optimization at like all those levels. And that is the big problem with obviously PC gaming and deving and stuff like that is, oh, we're now going to have to optimize for that. Yes, really you do, because if you want as many people to play your game as possible worldwide and stuff like that, which is what all these big companies are trying to now go for, they want more players, that's how the business works. You need to put the work in to allow all types of players, and I don't mean types of players as in their gameplay type, I mean types of players as in their hardware type, or what their hardware is capable of. They need to make sure that, say, if you put it into low settings, it's not just horrible low textures and stuff like that. It's actually game looking nice just on low resources needed. That's what low settings should be, not just, oh, just turn all the resolutions and everything down so it can load faster. No, it still needs to look good. So optimize it to make sure that, you know, it looks decent still, but it can still run on the older software, the older hardware. It's a business. They want to push out the older hardware anyway, so whatever. It's a cat and mouse game. I know I need to upgrade. I do, but I also wish that a game like this, a franchise like Battlefield, can understand that its roots are in the PC, and so it really should try to think of being like, hey, we need to bring all types of PC players, no matter if they've got the very latest graphics card or they're using something from 10 years ago still. Right, yeah. But we're right near the end. Sorry about knocking the mic. We're right near the end.
That feedback is crucial in helping us know what to prioritize, what needs improvement, and what feels like a true Battlefield experience.
We're pre-alpha, so now is the time to test all the experiences our teams have been building for our upcoming launch.
Interesting to say pre-alpha as well. A lot of people also do get confused with what like alpha, beta and all that like kind of really means. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head the actual specific definitions between the two of them, but alpha and beta are very different. Like alpha basically means core game systems are still being worked on and have not been finalized. Beta means core game systems are finalized and we're now fleshing out. That's like, I believe, a layman's way of being able to explain it. Someone out there will probably flame me. I'm sorry to people like Parrot Software and all the other devs who actually know what they're talking about. I've probably just butchered that explanation, but hey ho. Pre-alpha will obviously mean, in that sense, that it's even before the core mechanics have really been figured out and then worked on. You're basically helping them figure out what core mechanics need to be worked on to make the game go forward in the way that their player base wants it to go forward. So that actually sounds really, really good. So I'm actually really interested in that and how the playtests are actually going to work, because obviously it's going to be nothing like really a beta that most people have gained access to. I don't even believe myself I've actually been a part of any alphas properly. I may have with something like Dauntless or something. I may have had access to an alpha at some point, because I do think I feel like there was some alpha have been a part of for something. Oh no, I remember what it was, because yeah, I signed the NDA for it. It was Shatterline on Steam. I think I played the alpha for that, and I do remember like that game completely was different to such a pretty big extent from what I remember playing to what actually came out. But like the core systems kind of still felt the same. So I was like it's actually, I actually kind of enjoyed Shatterline. I won't lie, but pre-alpha, interesting. So we're still in that stage of the new game, even though I'm pretty sure the new game is supposed to launch sometime this year, isn't it? I hope I've got my information wrong there, because if that is correct, that the game is supposed to be launching this year, but we're in pre-alpha doing playtests, that's a little scary how short that time frame is going to actually be. They got a lot of work cut out for them if that is the case, but I got a feeling that maybe I'm wrong and it's 2026 next year. That's actually the release of the game. That sounds more correct, to be honest. If they're in pre-alpha now, they've got like a year and a half from now till game release ish. Okay.
And beyond. Join our Discord where you can learn more about our new closed testing environment. We call it Battlefield Labs. Let's build Battlefield together.
We get some pre-alpha gameplay. Interesting. We actually got some pre-alpha gameplay right there at the end, like 5 seconds worth. No, just a bit longer. About 13, 14 seconds worth from here. Interesting. So we definitely have like a vibe of going back to Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. You know, I might be getting this wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. An M1 Abrams right here. No idea what the gun actually is. I'm not a gun nut or anything, but from the look of it, with its attachments, things, and just the shape and look of it, it looks like we're going to modern combat, not futuristic. We're not in World War. We're not in Cold War. It looks like this is modern day setting, like 2000 plus to current kind of thing. A lot of destruction we've seen going on. This definitely, obviously, it's pre-alpha gameplay subject to change. This is definitely a fully, I can't remember the actual proper term, but like a fully rehearsed scenario. Like these explosions, these people moving, running, reacting, and falling over, whatever. Like having a guy here and there. They're all staged to do it specifically. This is, so the closest I would say was like this is like maybe a look into the single player experience that they have, which could be possible. Like all of this could actually end up being the single player experience, and honestly I think having something like this as the single player experience would actually be the best way to go. It's been a very long time in Battlefield since you kind of had a squad, and last time we kind of had the actual feeling of an actual kind of like squad, in my opinion, from a single player campaign is the Bad Company series, revered as some of the greatest Battlefield games ever, where we constantly, the community, me involved, goes, where's Bad Company 3? We want a Bad Company 3, but make sure it's great like Bad Company 1 and 2. So I don't blame them for not releasing a Bad Company 3, because the kind of track record with like 1, 5, 2042, I like 1 and 5. I'll give it. I like 1 and 5. 2042, I was kind of, it's all right. I'd say it was a good game if it wasn't called Battlefield, but because it was called Battlefield, I didn't really enjoy it that much. But going back to this, single player, having a squad go around with you, maybe not like permanently always this close to you. This might be, you know, a bit of a stage section right near the end of a mission or the start of a mission, but being able to go through missions and having like your squad mates show up during the mission, help you out, move around with you and shit like that. I really do think that's probably the best way to go with the single player campaign. Make it feel like a Bad Company campaign, where you are in bad company, but it doesn't have to be bad company anymore. It could be a new company, you know, like some sort of Delta Force or something, where you're more Spec Ops than Bad Company. That was a whole like charm of Bad Company, was you weren't Spec Ops or anything like that. You were just Bad Company. It had that charm. Bring that charm back, but make it new and unique, like a new force, like Delta Force or whatever kind of thing. I don't really know the military that well, for especially American forces. Anything after that? So we've got some more Evolution Destruction. This definitely kind of looks like it is out in like the Middle East kind of area, maybe like Far East Russia kind of area, maybe. No, sorry, Far West Russia, not East. I was fucking dumb. Very far West Russia, like on the borderline to Europe. So it could be North Africa, maybe. Doesn't really feel like it. Feels more Eastern European than Northern Africa. Then we shoot the RPG. Go back a bit. Yeah, we don't really see much here. Got like a ghillie suit. Buildings coming down in the distance. It does look like it is American versus Russian. Is it a continuation from like Battlefield 3 and 4's kind of story? Which, to be completely honest, a lot of people are like, oh, the American versus Russian or whatever. Just choose one force versus another force kind of thing. It kind of doesn't really matter, really. It just kind of helps, especially when you then go into multiplayer, to have the separation of uniforms, like especially through colours. That's something multiplayer needs to make sure, especially if they have skins. A skin, in my opinion, a lot of people will probably hate this, but a skin should not be interchangeable between the factions. The skins need to be unique to the faction. It can't be like Battlefield 5, where it's, you know, you're not facing the Japanese, but somehow someone's running around in the Japanese unique legendary skin. So it kind of, you know, confuses your brain a little bit, because you're like, wait, hang on. Because you're seeing a uniform that your brain hasn't really told you. Because when you've loaded in, you've gone, oh, it's USA versus Russian. And you know, I'm on the Russian side. Or, you know, it was whatever versus whatever. So this is hopeful that it is gone back to kind of like that feel of where they have just choose. It is just one faction versus another faction. I don't mind having, you know, special people, hero kind of people and stuff like that. But it's again like they don't need like fancy uniforms or anything like that. Like, just go back to this. This is great for multiplayer. This kind of uniforms and stuff, like being able to be like, hey, he's wearing this hat with that orange, you know, body armor, so he's an engineer. You know, this guy, he's got that specific backpack on with that kind of helmet, he's definitely an engineer. Oh, this guy, he's got all these pouches and stuff, and he has this kind of like hat and like helmet, and I've been saying hats, but the helmets, aren't they? You know, helmet and vest, and so he's definitely, you know, an assault. Oh, there's a guy who's, you know, got some ghillie stuff on, and so he's definitely a part of recon. And then from there, you're like, oh, so recon has access to these weapons, these gadgets. And obviously a Battlefield player will be having all these thoughts incredibly fast, because they'll just look at it and go, recon, this is all the possibilities of what this person can do to me. This is all the possibilities that this person could do. And then obviously if you haven't seen their gun because they've been hiding, you've only just seen part of their head or whatever, like you then have to figure out, like, do they have the sniper rifle, or do they have a DMR, or are they actually running PDW or something? Are they trying to be the sneaky close quarters flank round guy rather than the far back or long range sniper kind of guy? Like, so that was like the great feel of Battlefield for me as well. Being able to look at the uniform and to a degree identify what my enemy was, and then I can judge, hey, is this something I want to push out and get aggressive on this player, or do I want to run away, or do I want to try and lure him closer to me, or a million different thoughts, to be honest. Shoots the rocket, shows the destruction, and yeah, then okay, interesting to see some of that gameplay. Like, definitely, even though it's only like 13 seconds, like, you can actually glean quite a bit from that. And obviously someone with a better eye of knowing what the weapons are and that tank, if it wasn't M1 Abrams or something slightly different or whatever, someone could glean even more information into that. So we've got the 4 studios: Criterion, DICE, Ripple, Motive, and then Electronic Arts as the publisher. I'm pretty sure EA is classed as a publisher, not development team. Pretty sure. No military weapon vehicle manufacturer is affiliated or has sponsored or endorsed this game. Yes, I'm pretty sure that's something they've had to put in because of they actually do put like real life weapons and tanks and stuff in it, so they have to put a clause in like that. That's fair enough, but that's fair enough. Yeah, that'll probably be the end of the video. I'll probably have made some other voiceover for the start and definitely cut this down, because it's like, whoo, this is a long reaction I've done, to be honest, but it's Battlefield and I actually can't wait. I've signed up for it. I'm going to be joining the Discord. I'm going to be asking some questions, especially about, like, this is a pre-alpha test, so, like, I'm going to try and find a way of wording it where I'm not basically trying to act like trying to be attacking or anything, but basically the question is going to be in the essence of, is what we're going to get access to going to be like a current version of what the developers are actually working on, or are we going to be getting access to something that's like a couple patches behind? Because that kind of really does make a difference. Because if they're already a couple patches ahead, for one, then comes the decision of, well, do you scrap all that work and go back to the patch that was for the playtest or not? And then that one decision there could obviously change the direction pretty dramatically, to be honest. Even at like the pre-alpha stage, even when it's really early, and it's much easier to do those things. So, well, all of that out of the way. Sign up now, as it says. And sub as well. Help me get to 500 subs. It'll be great. I would love it. Please. Sorry. No. Yeah, sign up now. Sub, like, share, whatever. I don't go for it. I don't mind. You do, you don't, whatever. But let's keep an eye on this. This is interesting. I'm going to try and keep some people... not some people. I'm going to try and keep you guys up to date about this. Got a lot of stuff going on, but this is very interesting, and this kind of has brought me back. Seeing this yesterday, because this is now like the day after I am recording this from the actual announcement and stuff. This actually has made me really feel about coming back, because I really am passionate about Battlefield, and I'm assuming there probably going to be some NDA stuff. Like, if I get access to probably some, like, pre-alpha sections for that, there might be some NDA stuff where I'm not allowed to record or talk about it. But I definitely will try my best, even if it's just like, hey, I actually gained access and I can't actually give you any details, but I can at least tell you what my opinion and feelings are. Then I'm going to share those with you guys. But until then, well, I hope you all keep safe, keep well, and I'll catch you later.